This is a 1956 Dodge C3 job-rated H6 flatbed. The C3 trucks were standard workhorses, but the H series trucks were heavy-duty. Most versions of the C3 series trucks had a GVW of up to 8,800 pounds. The H6 is rated at 17,000 pounds. The H series trucks are very rare. If you search for these, most results just come back to this one truck. And if you can find another one out there, you'll likely find it in rough shape, and it's probably going to have lived its life on a farm or in an industrial application. And it certainly won't look like this one. We purchased the truck in 2013 from a seller in Iowa who started restoration and upgrades of the cab, engine, and driveline. The cab is painted in Nason olive drab metal flake. It is believed that the U.S. Army originally purchased this truck, and it ended up in Texas at Fort Hood. The truck then went to Iowa to live another life, serving the heavy load needs of a welding supply company before being acquired by the restorer. Our contribution to this truck is the fold-down bedside system that we engineered and fabricated here in California. Simply pull on a pin, then fold it down. This replaces the need for a bulky and inconvenient stake side setup and creates a hassle-free cargo containment system. We also had new tires installed that are the correct vintage design. The bed is lined with honey locust planks that were milled in Iowa in 1977. The planks were stored indoors until the mid-2000s before they finally found their purpose. A truck of this capacity requires heavy-duty suspension. You can see just how many leaf springs are stacked up under there, and the original equipment differential housing is just massive. The interior of the truck could use a bit more effort to complete the overall project. The carpet and seats are not matching, nor are they period correct. The seats are from a Ford Aerostar, but they're very comfortable. The folding armrests are a nice feature. The seats sit on the original sliding rail apparatus from the stock bench seat. The bench seat is included with the truck. It has a tear along one of the pleats, but a good upholstery shop will make quick work of that. The top header panel inside the cab has some corrosion. The original rearview mirror is on hand, but not mounted. It appears to mount to an adapter with a different bolt pattern or possibly to a trim panel that's missing. The driver door glass is visibly cracked, and the passenger side is also cracked, but it's cracked right at the bottom track, and that's all shrouded when completely rolled up. You have to look down into the door to see that crack. The steering wheel and dashboard are original. The oil pressure and amp gauges are functional, but the fuel level, temperature gauge, and speedometer are not working at this time. There is an under-dash pod with functional water temp and oil pressure gauges, along with a sun tachometer that is also not working. The non-working gauges have not been diagnosed, so it's highly likely that the gauges have simple connection issues. An additional under-dash pod houses two vintage-style switches for the front and rear spotlights. There are connections for a stereo head unit inside the glove box, and a nice amplifier between the seats. Getting music into the cab would simply require a purchase of a head unit and a couple of speakers. The truck was originally equipped with a straight-six engine rated at 115 horsepower and 125 foot-pounds of torque. Sometime prior to the restoration, the six-cylinder was removed and replaced by a 350 V8 with a 700 R4 automatic and a floor shifter. The restorer had Performance Auto in Waterloo, Iowa go through the engine and the heads. They were Magnaflux and rebuilt with high-end components. The block was bored to 355 cubic inches, and a high-performance camshaft was degreed for maximum low-end torque and throttle response. The transmission was professionally rebuilt at that time as well. The result is immediate acceleration and very good performance for such a massive truck. There are no issues with climbing grades or cooling. The ratios in the trans keep the RPM range well within reason at all times. Overall, it's a great combination of power and gear ratio. The brakes, steering, and overall handling are good with no drama or excess play. Here's the VIN tag, 17,000 pound GVW, and the original engine put out 115 horsepower and 125 foot-pounds of torque.